football?
I think the biggest things Coach always said was control what you can control, and for us that was just winning out that game against Colorado. And that final week there wasn't much else we could do. We dropped the games that unfortunately we didn't want to, but other things fell into place. And yeah, Coach Witt was just saying the whole time, control what you can control, and hopefully the other things fall to place. And that's what happened. And we got our opportunity in the Pac-12 championship game, and I think we showed why we deserve to be back here again.
What's for you guys? How important is it to? You've obviously been here, done this before last year, just to end it the right way and get a win in this Rose Bowl game.
Yeah, I think I can speak for everyone on the team. Last year, it's not the best feeling walking away from that game with a loss, and a game that has so much prestige and tradition throughout college football. Whilst it was awesome to be able to get there, we're coming here, we want to get this W and want to walk away with that same feeling we had the Pac-12 championship game and sort of get another first historic win for the program.
What does it mean for you guys, for you personally, and for the team to know that you have so much support on Monday? So many people dressed in red cheering for you guys.
Oh, it's awesome. It was the case with the Pac-12 championship last year, and even this year. Utah supporters is something else, and it's nice sort of being in California. At least we more or less have that more so home field advantage. So it's always an unbelievable feeling going out there, and just feels like another home game at Eccles.
Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good, we're from enemy country, Penn State land. So.
Nice.
But we're good, we're friendly, we're fine, we're good.
Oh, good.
Did you enjoy Beef Bowl last night?
Oh yeah, that primary put me into a coma after, but it was awesome.
How much did you eat?
I had a couple pieces. They were pretty big slices. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, years ago it used to be an eating contest.
That's what I heard. It's probably not too good for the players though.
We were a little disappointed to find out that tradition was gone. But
Yeah.
You're right. Well, in this PC world that we live in too,
Yeah.
overeating is not looked at as being,
That's true. Yeah.
It's good. So as far as that goes, you talked about the Beef Bowl, the Disneyland thing. There's been a lot of fun things to do on this trip. Have you guys been able to enjoy that yet? Know there's a game to be played on Monday?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The coaches are pretty forward about it. Separating what we're here for, and also separating time that we have for fun, and they want us to enjoy this week. It's an experience. So yeah, I think we've definitely had our time to have fun, but also when we need to get serious, pretty good at switching to that too.
The team having been through all this a year ago, has that helped this year, do you think?
I think so, especially for the younger guys. I think it's really helpful, just sort of walking them through it. Like you said, we've been here before, we know what it's like. So for us now, I think it's just going out there and playing another game.
It's interesting, if you go back a few weeks, it didn't look like you'd be here, right?
Yeah.
You lose to Oregon, and people are like, oh, where are we going to play, and all that. And now here you are. Can you talk a little bit about emotionally what that has felt like? And you must have had expectations at the beginning of the year, the playoff, maybe making it back here. What does it feel like to be back here after all you've been through this year?
Yeah, like Coach always says, control what you can control, and those unfortunate circumstances. We dropped a few games, and whilst it might have seemed our goals might have been out of sight, like he says, control what you can control. And after that Oregon loss, we just went in there with the attitude that, okay, we just need to beat this Colorado team, and if everything else falls in place, it does. And to our desire, it did, and we got back to that championship game. And I think we really showed guys that why we deserve to be back here, and it wasn't really just by fate.
Some of the guys we talked to yesterday on your team were talking about after the Colorado win, they knew there were several things that had to happen for you guys to get here. Somebody even said, I watched the Washington State game. You remember what you did, after you got back here for the Colorado game?
Oh yeah, as soon as that game finished, we were back in the locker room. We had the Oregon State game up, checked that happened, and then early flight back home. I think everyone put on the Washington game on, checked that happened, and I think already it was Arizona needed to win at the time, and I think that was. I think it was after the fourth quarter of the Washington game when everyone's like, all right, we're going back to the championship game. And then we all got that team text message, come back in, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and start preparing for Friday. It was pretty awesome.
I know a couple of your teammates aren't going to be here. Guy that plays your position, obviously, and Clark Phillips, the defensive back. Given the fact that they're two pretty key players, has that changed preparation at all for you guys? I mean, knowing you're not going to go into this game, you're going to go into this game without them. How has that affected the team?
I don't think it's necessarily affected the team. I think like we've had in other situations before, it's just next man up. And, I've got to fulfill my role with Dalton being out, and the other guys got to step up in Clark's absence. And I don't think it will be a problem for us. And I think whilst those guys are unbelievable players and they do what they do, the coordinators are also great in helping adjust to missing those guys and sort of playing to our strengths. So while stuff will change, I'm sure, a little bit schematically or whatever, but it's just next man up, and we've got to go out there and sort of run at the same efficiency we always have been running.
I think both these teams have kind of prided themselves all year on being tough on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Does that make this matchup, sort of kind of challenging that, you're going to see who's tougher maybe at the end of the day? Have you guys looked at it from that standpoint?
We've definitely looked at that aspect, and I think that's what we love. Utah football, is physical football, and Penn State's obviously very physical football too. So I think that's what it will be, the tipping edge, and we'll go out there and we'll see, who's the most physical team, and that's what I think we have to go out there and show the country.
It's almost like you guys are more like a Big Ten team than you are a Pac-12 team with the image and the way you're built, right?
I don't know. I think maybe sometimes Pac-12 gets a bad rap, but we can be very physical as well. So
yeah, I didn't mean that from a
no.
standpoint, but everybody looks at the Big Ten and they think physical.
Definitely.
And Pac-12 is more looked at as being wide open, blah blah blah. And you guys don't seem to fit that role, but you've done very well.
Yeah.
In the Pac-12.
No, I think that's one of our calling cards, and sort of coach really emphasizes his physical football. Tough, smart guys is what we like to say. So I think we like to epitomize that as best as we can.
I like the tough, smart guys. Very good.
Yeah.
Hey, good luck. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, just in terms of the team's excitement, I think just like a lot of the guys that we hear last year, whilst we're very excited, we sort of know what we came here to do, and we want to sort of have a better experience, obviously, than last year. But in terms of the role, it's awesome I get to get my opportunity. I always say I wish it was under different circumstances, but I'm just trying to treat it like any other game. Whilst my role's going to go up and the amount of reps and what, so I got to treat it like any other rep I get out there and just do that a few more times. So that's sort of my attitude going into it.
What's it been like having both Dalton and Grant there, doing all the bowl activities? Are you picking their brain, or is it just more that they're kind of there to have fun? And
They're great. Even before the bowl, like when these guys are out or whatever, they're always helping me on the sidelines and like in practice and giving me tips. And those are arguably two of the best guys to learn from in terms of tight ends at the college football level, and just having him here at the bowl game is great. I think it sort of helps me just mentally, just even having him now, for the activities, team activities. At the end of the day, they're my two best mates on the team. So, just having them there just helps me treat it like it is any other game. And unfortunately, they won't be playing in the games, but they're going to be there for me on the sidelines. And if there's corrections I need to be make, they'll help me. If there's tips or whatever they see, or even if it's just any form of reinforcement, they're pretty good with that and sort of help me with that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Thomas. If you think back, 4 or 5 years ago when you first came to Utah, you were first playing, the sport for the first time. What were your initial expectations, when you first got here?
Look, I knew it was going to be a long road, and I felt like, maybe a couple of years. I'm not going to lie, I didn't think it would take as long as it did. But, I think it just makes it that much sweeter, sort of how long it has been taken, and, to finally get the opportunity and show what I can do. And I think it's also given me that mental sort of reinforcement that I can do what I can do. And whilst it took a little bit longer, there's also good reason behind that. I was, happened to come into a class with two of the top 5 tight ends in college football. Dalton and Brandt, and then Cole Fotheringham as well before he's in the NFL now. So I think it's also helped me a lot to learn behind such 3 high caliber players. And like I said, it took a little bit longer than I expected, but I think it makes it all the worthwhile.
Being in this position now and and having the season that you've had, how gratifying is it to see, all those years and all that hard work kind of come to fruition now?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, personally, everyone says you're never going to be satisfied. I've had 12 receptions. Obviously, I'd like more, and I want to be able to do more and show more. But I mean, compared to what I have done throughout my whole career combined, yeah, it's great to at least demonstrate what I can do. And I think also not even just for me, like my family, it's a big thing. They sort of know definitely how much I've sacrificed to come here and a lot of what I gave up back in Australia. So I think even for them, it's so gratifying to see me go out there and do well. And it's been a big bonus this year for sure.
Oh, I had a great question and it just flew away.
You've got another year of eligibility to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you decided what you're going to do yet, Thomas?
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely leaning more so towards staying. I'd like to stay, but it's hard being in college for five or so years, or 4.5 years, but 5 seasons, I guess. So I don't know. That decision, I guess, will come after the game, but probably most likely leaning towards staying. Yes.
As you're trying to go through the options, and talking with your family, what goes into that decision, whether it be school or age or whatever have you? Like, what goes into choice?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, it's the same for everyone. School, age, of course, is a big one. I mean, just turned 23, and then just sort of assessing my options, and I won't go too far into it, but there's some other options as well. So.
Well, Devon just turned 25, so you're ahead of him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure.
What have you seen from Penn State defensively that stuck out to you on the film?
I mean, they're a very physical team. I think, like us, their calling card on defense and offense as well is physicality and toughness. So I think that's their biggest thing. I mean, they have super high work ethic. Those guys collapse to the ball, they run around, they fly around. So, no, they're going to be a super physical team, and we just got to be as physical to be able to keep up with them and get ahead of them.
Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate
No
it.
worries.
How's it going, man?
Good, how you doing?
Connor
Thomas.
with the Rose Bowl. So I've got some a little bit more lighthearted questions.
No, you good. No worries.
I was talking to Braden over there. We were talking about the golf game on the team and how everyone is kind of dabbling in there. He said that you're a little hot-headed on the course sometimes.
Is that what he said? That's funny. Look, I'm a competitor, not just in football. I like to compete in just about anything I do. I'll get a little frustrated, but I think the skill talks for itself. So, definitely if I'm going out there and I'll swing right and miss left a little bit, a couple words will come out, but nothing too serious.
Who's the best golfer on the team?
Well, I wish I could say myself, but I would have to say that's tough, honestly. Right now, it's I got to shout Charlie Vincent. Definitely Charlie Vincent, running back. I think we've got a few guys that are sort of up there, and then I think he's definitely separated himself. I've seen those guys pull off some crazy shots, so he's pretty awesome.
How did you guys get into that as a team?
I think everyone got in at different stages, but Dalton and I both pretty much started in COVID. We got sent back home, and I had nothing else to do, and golf courses were open, so I picked up golf, and I'd played a little bit when I was younger, so I picked it up fairly quickly. And I mean, when you're playing during COVID, you got nothing else much to do but train, so we were playing 4 or 5 times a week and going for a while, so we picked it up pretty quickly.
Right on. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Thomas, what makes Cam such a good leader?
I think it's his mentality, both on and off the field. I mean, I make jokes about it, but like that guy, when he speaks to you, even just on a personal level, he just sounds like a leader. He's very commanding, but in a good way, in a way that makes you want to listen to him. And I think he's just unfazed, really. I think on the football field, that's his biggest thing. That guy remains unfazed. No matter what situation we're in, at least we go out there on a drive and he's going to take us and get us to do something special.
What's he like off the field?
Oh, awesome. I mean, since he came in spring 2019, I'd call him one of my best friends. He's a super close friend of mine. He's always been there and just great guy all around. And he's just awesome. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys obviously see him as Cam Rising, but I mean, off the field, he's just one of my mates. And yeah.
Is there Is there one thing or one person that stands out about Penn State's defense?
I mean, look, I wouldn't say it's one person, but I mean, they're all great players. I mean, their ends, number 20, super physical. Their linebackers, again, super physical, super high work ethic, and we've sort of just been looking around the front line mostly, especially as a tight end. Those guys just have super high work, super high motor. They collapse to the ball. They run around. They hit. So no, it's they're all very strong players up front, and it's going to be a super physical game.
Does the experience of playing here last year, how can that help you guys this year?
Yeah, I think definitely the biggest thing is, it's arguably one of the largest stages of college football, the Rose Bowl. So I think having been there, we'll sort of get that surreal sort of feeling, so to speak, that excitement. But I mean, once the whistle goes, you sort of get that tunnel vision, and the 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 fans, whatever, it all blurs out, and you're just playing another football game.
Describe your mentality once Dalton declared for the draft and you're kind of like, okay, it's my time to shine now. What's your mentality been over the past few weeks, and how have you prepared yourself for that?
I think I've not tried to change it too much. Whilst obviously my reps are going up and my roles increased, I just try and treat it like every other game. I mean, I'm going to want to do the same things I have done when I've gotten those opportunities. So, with the opportunities increasing, my expectation with myself is that I can just capitalize and execute more on that. So I think that's the attitude I'm really going in with it.
What did you know about the Rose Bowl growing up in Australia?
Sorry, what was that?
What did you know about the Rose Bowl growing up in Australia?
Honestly, out of all the bowl games, it's probably the one I knew relatively the most. But I mean, saying that, I just knew it was a historical game. I'd always see it randomly aired on TV at the time. I think my first experience of watching it was 2014 or something. It was like Wisconsin, Stanford, or at the time. But it would be on an ESPN or Fox Sports or something, and we'd chuck it on. My older brothers actually know way more about American football than I did coming to America, so they'd always give me crap about it because I'd watch it with them. But I didn't really even know what was going on. But that was probably my first experience. So everyone knows sort of the tradition, I guess, behind it, and sort of the stature of the game. But yeah.
Did you ever dream of playing in it?
Absolutely not. I mean, I never even thought I'd pick up an American football in my life, so let alone to play in the Rose Bowl. Yeah, it's pretty surreal to think about that. I used to sit there as a 15, 14-year-old watching it, and I guess now I'm playing in arguably one of the biggest college football games.
When did you first pick up American football?
When I came to college. So my freshman year coming here was the first time I played football.
So did you play rugby previously?
I was a rugby player all growing up, and I got recruited from rugby to come play American football.
With this opportunity now, I mean, you were here part of the Rose Bowl last year, but now that you're maybe probably more of a featured position player on the offense, I mean, do you feel like this means more to you at this stage?
I feel like it's the wrong way to put it. It means more because obviously being part of the team last year, everyone sort of has that same, whether you're a bencher or a starter, it still holds the same weight for you. But I think it's definitely more prevalent. It's more it's sort of in your face now. It's really, I think, without putting pressure, you feel like a lot more is weighing on, and sort of the severity of the event is definitely increased. So, it was an awesome experience, and it was gut wrenching. I mean, losing last year, but yeah, definitely. I mean, look, as you're more larger player in the game and sort of more action, you definitely feel it more. Yeah, absolutely.
I think early on you had talked about maybe confidence and just trying to be on the field, knowing that you can do what you've been recruited to do. Do you feel like you're in a place now that kind of that confidence is there and you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I just think with every game is a confidence thing for me. The more I get out there, the more Cam's trusting me, players, coaches are trusting me. It helps with my confidence. I think they've been great in doing that. And at the end of the day, it's up to myself. I got to make those plays to give myself that confidence. And I felt like I've been doing that, and at least trying to the best of my ability. So for me, just going out there, I know that I know what I can do, and I know certain things I can't do. So I'm just going to go out there, play to my strengths, and sort of try and do what I can do best out there and just do it more times, I guess.
I know you've talked about how hard it is for family to travel and everything that way. Are you going to have family here at the Rose Bowl?
Unfortunately, I won't. No, yeah, it's not a cheap flight on a couple of weeks' notice to fly from Sydney, Australia. So, and especially to get the whole family out there and on such short notice, and I mean with the limited flights, it's a bit of a hassle. And both parents work, brothers are working, eldest brothers in school, so it's kind of. I'd love to. I mean, but yeah, I won't be able to, unfortunately.
A couple of weeks ago, I talked to you about maybe potential with your future, and I'm not asking you to tell me what your decision is, but do you feel like you have better clarity on what your future is?
Definitely, yeah. No, I think I've come to a pretty good. Look, I'm leaning towards staying. I've told other people that. That's definitely. It's probably in my best. So I've got to assess a few things. There's also, it's not just so cut and dry with football. Unfortunately, there's other factors outside. But yeah, so I guess that decision will be made soon. But
was it a natural transition to catching an American football from all the ball handling in rugby, or did it take you a while to get used to?
Catching the ball wasn't actually too bad, honestly. It was a little bit different, but definitely running with the ball. I mean, rugby, you're running with the ball, usually two hands on the ball, getting ready to pass it, or swinging around so you can flick it off. I mean, American football is all about ball security and keeping it high and tight. So I think that was definitely the biggest adjustment for me.
I've always wondered, given the big face mask and the helmet, like, would it be safer? Because you see, there was a generation of safeties and linebackers who really used their face mask as a weapon.
Definitely.
I always wondered, like, you played rugby, so do you feel like it's a safer sport because you have to protect
I think
your face and your head?
I don't know. Look, there's obviously different aspects. I think sometimes people have a false sense of security with the masks, so they can just sort of go head first and they think nothing. I think with rugby you don't have that helmet on, so you tend to be a bit safer how you hit. You're hitting with your shoulder, you're going low, you're tackling. Form tackling is a little. I got to give credit to my rugby players. Form tackling is a little bit better there. So, but I mean, yeah, football they fly around, for sure.
So I'm just curious, like, what time would the Rose Bowl have been on back home?
So
our time.
So if it's 2 p.m. here, which I think is 3 p.m. Mountain West time, Utah time, that would be 7 a.m. the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not terrible.
No, so the best way I always think about it is 8 hours before the next day, because it's 16 hours difference. I mean, a good thing about Cam, he commands excellence, and not in a way that's sort of arrogant or anything by any means. Like he knows what you can do. He knows what we're capable of as a team. I mean, from the seniors like myself to the young guys, he knows what we're able to do. So like I think his best attribute is he's really able to bring out the best in our athletes, and I mean we just have such a trust in him, and he has such a great leadership that guys aren't willing to listen but love to listen and want to learn off him and feed off him. So I think in that aspect he's just really good.